Well, good evening and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast, guys. It is just me tonight. Lorah is at work. So, what we got to discuss? Well, you know what? I was hoping to kind of focus on focus on transfers, focus on incoming signings. I focus on a couple of signings really, but obviously we've only got one over the line so far. That been the signing of Hefte, the Brazilian fullback from Apoel Nicosia via obviously Fluminense. We'll talk a little bit about him, obviously, if we get to that. But the big news of today was not news that I expected, I think, or anyone particularly expected, and that is the departure of James Bisgrove from his role as CEO of Rangers. And I think he goes with kind of a mixed feelings. I think there's some that are very pro what James Bisgrove has done at his time at Ibrox, and there's some that are very questioning of the time what he's done at Ibrox. And we'll certainly get to discussing all what James Bisgrove has perhaps achieved, and also what is going to happen in the meantime, and perhaps how this departure has come at slightly the wrong time for the club. Some of you in the live chat already, thank you very much for these early comments. Hi, I'm looking forward to everything Rangers. Aren't we always, Janet? Aren't we always? Please obviously smash that like. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, please obviously hit that sub. And remember, you can support the channel in lots of different ways. Become a member of the channel for as little as 99p, or you can always hit the super chat or super sticker button as well. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got down here. Bobby Finley, another one in the live chat. What the fuck is happening to our club? This isn't going well. Missing the football already, Janet, to be honest. I think we all are, David. What do we do with ourselves? I know the Euros are coming up, but that's not really a big one, is it? David, hopefully come back stronger next season. We have to stop that shit from winning everything. Agreed. I've got to say, this is a joke I've seen on a number of different X feeds, Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds. Is this one here? New job for Sterling, sitting behind the desk during the week, playing football at the weekend. A lot of people reckoning that Dujon Sterling could do a cracking job as CEO of Rangers. He seems to be able to do everything else, doesn't he? He plays right back, he plays left back, he plays centre half, he plays defensive midfield, he plays right wing, he plays left wing, he plays everywhere for our team. And yes, perhaps he could do a good job at CEO. Good evening to the boss. Evening, Hugo Bear. Evening, buddy. How you doing? Paul, good evening, mate. How you doing? Thanks, David. Evening, all. The great news that Clement isn't just going for our players, but also our board members. Hopefully, with Agent Bisgrove does us a favour in Saudi with Tavan Goldson. Interesting. Blue Nose John says a lot of sponsorships that he arranged were for little money. Yeah, I agree on that one. There's a number of sponsorships that you kind of look at and think that's pretty shit, isn't it? Yes. Now, the news when it came out was a bit of a surprise. And I think, whatever you think of James Bisgrove, whether you're pro James Bisgrove or anti James Bisgrove, it's up to you, guys. Up to you. You can have whatever thoughts you want on the whole Bisgrove situation. But what I want to say is it's come at the wrong time for the club. It really has come at the wrong time for the club. We are going into what is a absolutely fundamentally, massive period for this club. Huge period for this club where realistically we've got to. It's just we've got to rebuild. And we're losing a member of that team that is going to theoretically help to rebuild the club. So I don't know what to think of it. I really don't. I'm going to put a poll up here in the live chat now. So the question is going to be, is James Bisgrove going a bad thing for Rangers? That is now up as a poll in the live chat. What we've got here, Paul says in the live chat, I hope this means mass changes for the club and the team and Phil get what he needs. We should tell Bisgrove to find us new investment out in Saudi. Something we didn't need to be dealing with at this very moment. I think that is a good point there as well. Smoke Madron doesn't like him. He's glad to see the back of him. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a very, very difficult one. Like I said, I don't realistically know where to think at this stage. And I think it's just a move that's come at the wrong time, a really bad move for the club. Now, I'm hoping this is purely down to money. This is purely down to the fact that he's got a job with one of the Saudi clubs who are backed by one of the largest oil companies, Aramco, in the world. And it's the fact that, you know, he's going to be offered a substantially massive salary, and that's the reason that he has departed. That's what I'm hoping is the case. I do hope that that is it, and it's not down to some fallout from the board or some, you know, massive issue between Bennett and Clement, Coppen and Bisgrove, and it's not some issue over, you know, the rebuild plan, and it's not down to that, and it is purely down to the fact that he has been offered a huge salary by this Saudi club, and he has had to take it. And yeah, Hugo raises a very interesting question in the live chat. Did he leave or was he pushed? That's a good question. John is right. The next appointment is crucial as football is such a big business nowadays. If we are going to rebuild, best way before he starts. I suppose that is a good point. Big Saudi money is the rumour, says Smoke. Sponsorship at Rangers needs to be upgraded, says Dado Perso's Blue Boots. I think you are 100% correct on that. John Bennett said this when the news came out that James Bisgrove was leaving. Hey, Louise, how you doing? We wish James every success with his new role. The Jersey have also announced that Bennett will assume the role of executive chairman on an interim basis. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Rangers chairman John Bennett went on to say, I would like to thank James for the work he has done at the club over the last 5 years as commercial and marketing director and latterly as our CEO. Our commercial revenues grew significantly under James's leadership, while in the last year he was integral to the part of off-field restructuring the club has implemented. The executive team James helped shape has firmly established itself, and I fully expect momentum to be continued. So now, apparently, Bennett will now lead a team containing Chief Finance Officer James Taylor, Recruitment Chief Niels Coppen, Football Operations Director Craig Robertson, and current commercial boss Kareem Virani. So it's going to be that John Bennett will be taking on a fuller role in the club, that he is now not just the chairman, but also the executive chairman of the club, and he's taking more of an overview of the whole thing, that he is taking more responsibility. Hugo says we need a CEO with football experience. I would agree with that. We do need to get someone in who is going to be able to really maximize the revenue streams. You know, this is a situation we're in where this club needs to really build its external revenue streams in it. And, you know, we've made some decent steps forward on that thing. And you can kind of, yes, raise questions about the fact that maybe spending all that money on Edmiston House, spending all that money on sports bars, that could have been better spent on the team. You know, that argument is a big one, obviously, and we'll try and get to that. And my opinion is a huge loss for the club, to be honest, says Philippe. He always seems like a mercenary. I think it's just about the money. I don't blame him, to be honest. Evening Stephen, even. All Bisgrove done was make us money. It should be easy to get another, as he knew nothing about football. We can get a football man behind the desk. James was a businessman. It's always been its intention to become full-time, says Hugo. Who here would say no to oil money anyway? Love to see Rangers get oil money. Oh, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? Dado Perse makes Blue Boots makes a suggestion of Gordon Smith. Good shout. Every season since 55, we had a major upheaval to deal with. This is not good for the club, in my opinion. Of course, it's about money for him. Yeah, I think it is, Janet. But this is a great point from Blue Nose. I think this is a fantastic point that he makes. You know, he says that every season, yeah, we have had so much to deal with, and we do need, I think now, a stabilizing force in there to come back in and somehow bring this club back into check. And like I said, whoever becomes the new CEO, for me, has to take a massive overview of the whole situation, not just at looking at the product off the field, but, you know, realizing that the product on the field is the most important thing. Now, I know what the argument that keeps coming up about, you know, the likes of John Bennett, about John Halstead, about the Parks, etc., about, you know, making us, you know, about investing their money, about putting their money into the team. The argument that comes up time and time again is they're businessmen. They're businessmen. You know, why would they spend millions of pounds on footballers? You know, they're businessmen. Well, even the stupidest businessman has to realize that if you're going to make money, then you need to have a product that is worth selling, a product that is worth marketing. You can have the best sports bars, the best Edmiston House and entertainment venue in the whole of Scotland, in the whole of Britain. But if what you've got on the field is not pulling in not just the regular fans, but all fans, and is not bringing in the TV audiences, and he's not bringing in more merchandise sales, and he's not selling across the whole world, then you have got a shit product. And for me, money needs to be invested first and foremost, not in sports bars, not in Edmiston House, not in a museum, but in the playing squad on the pitch. Get what's on the pitch right first, then build around it. Have a product that you're proud of, a product that you can sell. And I know we should be talking about the football team as a product, but the thing is, it is now a product. It is now a product. Hugo says, was Bisgrove ultimately responsible for the Beale fiasco? Gibson and Johnson, the big investors, they are changing things up, says Bobby, hopefully. Got to speculate to accumulate. You do have to speculate to accumulate. That's absolutely the thing. You know, the issue we have is that if we do not build a squad this summer that is capable of competing, and is it going to take one transfer window? No, it is not going to take one transfer window. It's going to take 2 transfer windows, possibly 3, for us to fully rebuild this squad to where it needs to be. Of course it is. It's not going to be fixed in one summer. The damage to this club has been ongoing since 55. As Stephen Gerrard said, we should have fixed the roof while the sun was shining, and we didn't. And we let it ride, and we let it fall apart. And the roof's now crumbling in. The walls are crumbling. The foundations aren't sound, and it's all falling apart on the field. And we need to get that back under control. What have we got? Dado Perso's Blue Boots says it is Scottish football that's let us down. Blue Nose says we need to take the SFA and SPL as the corruption. Yeah, absolutely. Aldo, how you doing? Sorry, this is flipping. I'm struggling out to keep up with the live chat. Hey Bears, hey Aldo, how are you doing, buddy? Today, Aldo, obviously another one of our mods. It's great to have him here. We've got Dado Perso's Blue Boots saying that the SFA are rotten and the SPL is too. Agreed. Does anyone think Dave King would be interested in coming back to Rangers? I don't know. He does seem to take a big interest in the club. You know, let's hope that he's interested. Hopefully now Clement has the freedom to sign whoever he wants, and Coppen as well. After 55 fell apart. We did Aldo, 100%. Always something off with Bisgrove from the start. I don't think Bennett will get sacked, as he is a big blue nose. He doesn't act like he is, but he is. I mean, that is a well-known fact, isn't it, Louise? That we know that that John Bennett is a Rangers fan. He is a Rangers man to the core. We know he is. He's a huge Rangers fan, but he is a businessman, and he is an asset stripper, and he is someone who's made his money by, you know, breaking up companies and so on and so. So he's not going to throw millions of pounds into the club, because to him it probably won't seem like a sound risk. These guys are not Rangers men. They are businessmen, happy to being second best, along as we have Europe after Christmas, as they make a tidy wee profit off Rangers filling their pockets. Matt, that is what a lot of people think. And it is one of the things that does slightly concern me about this whole John Bennett thing. Him getting more power, him taking more responsibility over the club. You know, look, I'll be honest with you. And this is something that probably would affect me ever getting press accreditation in the future, or the ability to go into Ibrox. And because I will do what, you know, a lot of the Rangers official podcasts, you know, the Rangers insiders, as they're known, you know, the Rangers reviews of this world, this is Ibroxers of this world, the Jersnet guys. I'm not going to just happy clap along. I'm not just going to kiss the board's ass. I will question them. I will raise concerns when I have them. And one of the big concerns for me is I don't trust this board. I do not trust John Bennett. I do not trust the Parks, who are still involved with this board. I do trust Halstead. We need real investment in this club if it's going to move forward. And I don't think that the board members we've got now have access to the funds or the desire to put their funds, to put their money where their mouth is, basically. And I think, you know, Matt's got a decent point there. You know, he says, they're businessmen, and as long as they're making a bit of a profit, they're happy. That's a very real possibility. And, you know, if we're qualifying for the quarterfinals or the last 16 of the Europa League, or we can get out of a Champions League group or whatever, then at the end of the day, they're going to be happy, because they're going to make money out of it. Even if it's finishing third in a Champions League group, they're still going to be making around £30 million. So they're going to be happy with that. Philippe Clement says, massive loss to the club, increased revenue and done loads off the park. All his remit. Good luck to him. He will be missed. James Cochran says maybe James will get the oil men to stick a bit of money into Rangers. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, James, if that could happen? Aldo says kit prices are terrible, aren't they? 70 quid. They're 75 quid for the new away shirt. Yeah, 75 quid, mate. Dave King would be a good shout. Yeah, I agree. That's the only problem that you're going to get. That is you anyway. You're going to get them to stop to load. It's not by buying the kits, but people are never going to stop buying kits. That's the thing. Yeah, you're probably right. But if we can get rid of Goldson and Tab for decent money, there is a chance we can make a huge step forward in one window, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole issue is, so do I, although that was a long time ago. RFC 72, echoing something I just said there. Bennett taking over is very worrying sign. It is for me. I don't trust John Bennett. I know he's a Rangers man, but like I said, he is a businessman first and foremost. It's about making a profit for me, and it is a worry for me. When was the last time we all even heard from the board? That's a good question. Philippe hates the parks. I think a lot of us hate the parks. Philippe Clement, he watered down sponsorship deals to get more, mate. Scottish football don't help because money here is so poor. Correct. Douglas Park's son is still there. That's right, although Douglas Park's son is still on the board. The support needs to keep the pressure on the board. We do need to keep the pressure on the board. The board is, like I said, it is running this club more for itself than for the fans, in my opinion. And it needs to commit more funds to raise the product on the field. And like I said, I think there is a truth in what Matt was saying, in the fact that if we are in Europe after Christmas, they're happy. Of course they are. They spent next to nothing as its player out to bring one in. Then when was the Champions League, Europa, and big transfer money gone, should be upgrading, not downgrading. I think a lot of the transfer money from the Bassies and of others went to pay off debts, went to pay off Edmiston House, went to pay for sports bars, didn't, go to actually bring in players. And I know it doesn't work like this, but if you look purely on net spend, over the last 4 transfer windows, we have actually made a profit in the last 4 transfer windows. Although obviously Douglas Park shares are still there as well, mate. He's just not contributing anything. Bisgroves et al. Taking a small fortune out of the club for little in return. Although I might do, I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about it. Let me know if you'd be interested, guys. I hope the board go for someone ambitious instead of a lazy appointment. Agreed. Absolutely, Louise. Great point. When is our best-in-class leader going to talk to us again? I agree. I think, we do need the board to come out and talk and say something. Say something. Do you think the club would benefit from a 50+1 rule like Dom? Look, I think getting the fans involved in running the club, Geordie, would be a great thing. I think it really would. Louise, I won't be surprised if Bennett does the easy, cheap option again, like he did with Bisgrove, and promote from within. I mean, obviously, there's Kareem Varane there, Craig Robertson. There's a number of people he could possibly go to appoint as CEO. But for me, you need to bring in fresh blood from outside. You need to look at this in terms of, look, how do we get new ideas in? How do we get new ideas in to actually raise the standards of the club? To not only raise the standards on the field, but also to bring in those external revenue streams to increase the amount of money the club is bringing in. And that is another one for me. And I think James Bisgrove going shows that there is perhaps something that does need addressing. And like I've said already in this pod, I'm hoping that the reason he's gone is just the Saudi money and there is nothing else wrong with this. That it is not John Bennett effectively pushing him because he wants more power, more control over this club. And there was a difference perhaps in ambition between Bisgrove and Bennett. We will never know what the truth of it is. And I think, because when a lot of people leave organizations, when executives leave organizations, they sign gagging orders or, clauses in their contract, they can't reveal certain things. So look, it's a complicated one. It certainly is. Build the house. They should have put the money into the squad first. I agree, although, like I just said, get the product on the field right first, then go for everything else. We will go for the cheap option with players in the summer again and buy injury-prone players. But we're buying cheap injury-prone players. This season it's not worked. Tavern Goldson have to go around boycotting. Everything is not a lot. We still have good players. Don't trust Bisgrove. Hugo Bear says, I hope the new CEO is a Rangers support. I think that's an absolute must, buddy. They are good players, but they are on the cheap for a reason. We snap them up. How many seasons in a row are we going to have to rebuild? We don't seem to have a direction, says Stuart. And that's a brilliant point. That is a brilliant point. New owners with money, like I keep saying. Stephen Gillespie says, I know Kareem Varane, actually a top bloke, tight as a duck's arse, but a good guy and knows the value of the pound, by the way. At least we will get a transfer fee from James. At least it's not a free transfer. Matt says, I don't think Damian Garcia and Thomas Gadalmes are cheap options or injury prone. That will be a good buys. I think Gadalmes looks a decent player. I just want to go back to this point here from Stuart Allison. Stuart says in his comment here, how many seasons do we have to? Yeah, this is a brilliant point. We've got to make this the last summer we rebuild. We have to make this the last summer we rebuild. We can't be sitting here in 12 months' time having the exact same discussion over what we need to do to rebuild this club. We can't be sitting here in 12 months' time going, right, we've got a new manager. We've got another new manager. We've got to let him get his own players. We've got to rebuild this. This is not good for this club. You know, you're turning into Chelsea. You're turning into Watford. You're turning into a club that is going to be persistently failing. You need a coherent plan going forward. And we don't want to be sitting here in 12 to 18 months' time having another rebuild. We need to give Clement, Coppen the backing that they need to go out there to find and bring in the players that are going to make a real difference to this team. You know, the track record they've got so far, those two, ignore previous signings, right? Let's just ignore that. Okay. Let's look at what they've brought into this club so far. Mo Diamande, loan with an obligation to buy. Mo Diamande looks a class act. He does. His movement of the ball is good. His personal running space is good. And if you actually go back and watch some of the games, watch Diamande. One of the things that he does, when someone else has got possession of the ball, he offers, he will point, he will direct, he'll tell people where the ball needs to go. He's got, I think, an all-round vision to his game. Good signing. Oscar Cortez, fast, quick, direct, good attacking winger. Exactly what we need to take this club forward. So for me, Coppen and Clement have got clearly a good eye for a player. Hefte looks a good player. So it does look very positive for me. Geordie, yeah, absolutely we do. William N01, William, welcome. Says you don't need to spend massive money on players. Just show Olympiacos just showed that most of the team they had were all free transfers. I think they spent 4 million on one player. Imagine we signed a 30-year for all free. Good point. Yeah, they did. They did do that. Absolutely spot on. You don't always need to spend masses of fortunes just to bring in players. And then as you generate more money, you can perhaps increase the amount you spend on players. Good point. Last 5 years, we've had 3 different chairmen, 3 different directors of football, 3 head of academies, 4 different managers, and 3 summers of needing a rebuild. The club's a joke. And this is the point I'm making, RFC 72. We need now a period of stability. We need to give Coppen and Clement the backing that they need to take this club forward. We need a board that is going to back them. We need the right appointment as the new CEO, whoever that is going to be. Look, I think that is what we need. If, like I said, I do not want 12 months from now to be having this same conversation with you. 12 months from now, I want to be sitting here with you talking about winning the league, winning the cup, winning a double, progressing in Europe, winning a treble, something like that. I don't want to be sitting here in 12 months going, oh, well, another season, another rebuild coming. They've won again. That's not what I want. That's not what any Rangers fan wants. I think Coppen will get it right. I do. I think it's really, for me, and I think Louise makes a brilliant point here. I'm really positive about what Coppen is doing. If you look at what Coppen is doing, he would love. He knows what he's doing. He's expanding his market. Now, in the past, we've gone for duds from the Championship, or players who are past their best, or injured players from Serie A, La Liga, or players from those leagues with poor stats that we go, oh, we can get them back to their best as they were 5 years ago, Lammers, Dessers, etc. No, that is not the way forward. And we've proved that. And we prove that doesn't work because for the last few seasons, since we won 55, they have won the majority of the trophies. In the last 12 years, we've won what? What have we won? 1 league, 1 Scottish Cup, 1 League Cup. 12 years, 36 domestic trophies, and we've won 3. 3 out of 36. 12 of the trophies. They've won 11/12 of the trophies. How is that good enough for this club? It isn't. And I agree. I back Coppen. I back what he's doing. He's spreading his net. He's trying to find exciting talents from all over the world. And that, for me, is positive. Matt says in the live chat, he says, if we're left with Tav, Goldson, Jack, Wright, etc. in our squad next season, the league is over before it starts. Matt, I've got to say, I agree with you. We do need to clear out Tav, Goldson, Jack, Wright, etc. I do not want to see Ryan Jack get a new contract. Pacer says, please sign Scottish players. Again, I agree. 100% with you. We do need to bring in some Scottish players, who know what this league is about, who know how to handle this league. Our fans would go mental. The guy has scored something like 35 goals this season. I think it's about, is it that Daniel Garcia you're talking about? Need to stick with Clement for a few seasons, not just one. Agreed. What have we got? Bennett is a supporter, but you don't trust him. I've just got a little worry about him, Stephen. Like I said, he is. There's a number of reasons why, Stephen, I'm worried about him. Number one, he was the vice chairman to Douglas Park during the appointments. He was the vice chairman to Douglas Park when we failed to rebuild after 55. He was the vice chairman to Douglas Park that allowed the Michael Beale situation. So that's why I'm not 100% trustworthy of what he is currently doing. Philippe Clement says, hit that like, folks, and subscribe. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Please hit that sub and obviously hit the like as well. Buy cheap, buy twice. When you sign a bunch of free transfers, this is what you get. Beale spent all his money on Lammers, Dessers, and Neo. The rest were pretty much free transfers. Yeah, pretty much so. You've got to be careful. I think a lot of that is down to scouting, David. And I think the problem we had with that is that we allowed Beale to have too much power, too much control. The issue there is very much around the fact that we didn't have a director of football in place last summer. I think that is a huge one. That is a massive one. That if we got that right, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. RFC 72 says, he may be a supporter, but business and money always comes first, especially if you know about him. Next money, I love this joke. Great joke from James. James is on this today. Next money Rangers spend will be on a hospital wing at Ibrox. Louise says in the live chat, Matt, you have to scout properly. That's the problem. We do need good scouts. I think we've got better scouts now. Alan Austin backing up the Sterling joke there, saying that Sterling could be a better CEO. I would like a Rangers man, but I would like a Rangers man who, like I said, can be trusted. The problem with Bennett, like I said, is he's got too much back history with me. In terms of the club, in terms of backing Douglas Park, in terms of the bad decisions that were made by the club in the past, not backing after 55, etc., etc. We need to bring in a mix of Scottish and foreign players, as we need players who get in the squad. For example, Shankland, Armstrong, Miller, Watson, and Suter. I do think that is a good point. We do need a mix of Scottish players and European players, 100%. We need to offer contracts which properly reflects players' ability and experience. Agree. No stability at Rangers. We need to address our injuries because something is going wrong on the training pitch. Also bring through our youth. I agree. Who was the Rangers player who played through the game with a broken toe? I can't off the top of my head, buddy. That lot have been so cocky over the years, and he's been brought back down and fast. I want to see us win a treble next season. The boss needs to start producing with his own team. Blue Nose makes a great point here. Look at the corruption going on. Aberdeen should have played us in the final. I think there's a lot to be said for refereeing standards. There is a lot to be said about refereeing standards in this league. I think, for me, Blue Nose, I've got to be careful, Blue Nose, because if I sit here, I can't really sit and talk about and make allegations, because if I do, I can leave myself open to legal action. All I will say is that referees in Scotland are absolutely fucking atrocious. They are absolutely the worst referees in Scotland. In Europe, they are by far the worst referees in Europe, and they make so many. I do have to be a little careful with what I say on that one. What have we got here? Louise, you need to buy Scottish players to be successful. You buy better players and better recruits. Guys, struggling with the live chat tonight? Absolutely. 109 people watching. Please, obviously, smash that like. Was talking about the boy El Kababio in. The Olympiacos got him on a free from a team in Qatar. That's one encouraging thing for me, William, is the fact that Coppen does seem to be spreading his net far and wide, and that is a massive positive for me. A huge positive for me. Absolutely. Got my new top. My daughter works in the sports shop. Nice but pricey. I got mine this morning as well. £75 plus delivery. I'm sure it's money driven, but it's a concern with the noises coming from people close to the club. Suggest Bisgrove had a 3-year plan, and 1 year into it, the rest of the board were not sticking to it. Now that is a worry. And this is what I was talking about, Bluebells, at the start of the pod. My worry is very much around the, what is going on with the club. Is this purely down to a decision that James Bisgrove has taken because of the money, or is this being taken because of thank you, James, for that. It was the ball. Is this being taken, because of the fact that there's something going wrong, that there's a breakdown in relations between the CEO and the board? Like I said, I'm not an insider. I don't think I ever will be an insider because I kick up too much of a fuss. I am one of the most hated men in YouTube, I think. So, look, guys, I don't know what the situation is. Obviously, guys, please smash that like. 100 people watching tonight. Please smash the like. Feel like an old fart talking to my son about the 90s Rangers because my son ain't so lucky watching this lot, sadly. Although, buddy, I know how you feel, mate. When you talk about, the Gazas, the Laudrups, the Moles, the Nacho Novos, the Dado Persos, the Yeloviches, the Lovenkrantz, the De Boers, you talk about all these players and people look at you like, Jesus Christ, we really had that a lot of talent at Rangers. Look, it isn't going to go back to that, but we do have the ability, with the right recruitment, with the right management, coaching, tactics, investment, to actually get back to the top of the Scottish game at very, very least. Stephen, like I said, I'm not being nice to refs. Refs are shit in Scotland. They are the worst refs in Europe. I just have to be careful, because if I start talking about corruption and saying people are doing things because they are influenced certain ways, I can leave myself open to legal action, and I don't want to end up in court. I'm not a rich man. Refs are atrocious. How about foreign refs instead? DLT, I think that's a good shout. I honestly think the old firm should be refereed by foreign refs, whether that's English refs or refs from Germany, from Holland, from Spain, from another league. I think that would be a good call. Louise says, I can't be with all the Shankland and Armstrong talk. Surely we can get better and younger. Louise, I agree. I think there's no truth in the Shankland rumours. I don't think Rangers will buy Shankland. I don't think that is a goer. Imagine that mob had 5 goals cut off and 2 red cards and several pens against them this season. Matt, we'd never hear the end of it. And I do agree with what Curry was saying the other day, that I do think that we do need to cause more of a stink about this, to raise more of us and be stronger about this. Look, I hate them, and I hate how they talk about football. I hate how they, spin a story, don't they? Celtic are very good with, look, I hate Celtic and I hate praising them, but they're very good with PR. They're very good at spinning a story, aren't they? They're brilliant at it. And they've spun this narrative all season. Rangers get soft penalties. Rangers get soft decisions. Every decision goes for Rangers. Refs love Rangers. There's a conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. They've spun that all season, and they've raised questions and doubts in minds of referees, in the governing bodies. And that's how they get a lot of the favourite decisions. I don't think necessarily because anyone's setting out to cheat, because I don't think that's the case. I think it more is the fact that they're so scared to take decisions against them. They're so worried about it. They've got this narrative constantly spinning in their head. If I give this to Rangers, what's going to happen? If I give this to Rangers, what's going to happen? And they don't give things. I think we need to be more proactive in terms of putting that type of narrative as well. 3 goals chopped off at Celtic would think we have our refs in our pocket. Agreed. Absolutely. Look at Zeb Jacobs, done a brilliant job at Antwerp, built them up from the bottom, and now they have the best academies in Belgium. Comes here, I've tried to implement stuff, and he's gone within a year. Yeah, there is something, I think, wrong with the club, and I think we do need to obviously do something, in terms of putting everything into place and getting things right. And I think, it's like I said in that video, this is a massive, massive decision that we've got to take over, not just the CEO now, but obviously over the academy director. There is an awful lot to do at this club this summer. It's a massive summer, not just in terms of rebuilding the playing squad, but now in terms of appointing a new academy director, in terms of now getting a new CEO, There's a whole lot of things that we need to be doing. They are proven players in this league. The league top scorer, the player has created the most chances. Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. But I don't think they're going to go for them. I think number one, they're worried about the cost, the Rangers tax. I don't think it's going to happen. Refs are terrified of upsetting that mob for some reason. Yeah, I agree. We need 2 strikers. We do need at least 2 strikers. If we were to get Shankland and still had the same problems in Tav and Goldson, it would solve nothing. I agree. Tav and Goldson have to go. Of course, they've got to go. Yeah, they are. They're worst. They're the worst refs in the world. They're absolutely shocking. The pressure from them really started from that incident with Dougie McDonald at Tannadice. Agree. Albion Rahmani is better and faster. Clement wants a fast team. He is a very good player. Agree, Owen. But the Rangers Medium podcast don't speak up like theirs. Good to see Ali calling it out. Matt, I will always call out the refereeing standards. I think the standards are not good enough. I think the decisions they take are atrocious. I think there's a real need to overhaul this game. I genuinely do. There is a massive need. It is a massive need to overhaul this refereeing standards in this country. I think the refereeing standards in this country are the worst in Europe, and they are shocking. And I will always call them out for that. Not heard anyone mentioning Shankland. Is Rangers still interested in? According to Chris Jack, Janet, no, they're not. That's what Chris Jack said. I don't see Shankland coming to Rangers anytime soon. I don't either. The refs love Rangers. Fuck off. Most refs fucking Tims. King got us 55. Bring him in to get the 50s. Yeah, I would love King to be involved again. Absolutely. I think there's anything in Tav not being one of the players modelling the strip. He's been an ever present for 7 years. I don't know, Bluebells. I think there's a lot of stuff spun about this. I think that it could be he's on holiday. It could be the club are aware of the bad PR around Tav. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rumours going around that Tav's going to Saudi, that Tav is not going to be here next season. I mean, there's a whole load of rumours around that. And I don't know what the truth is. I'd love to find out what the actual truth is behind that. Like I said, this moment and what is going on with that. So there we go. But I'm going to end that poll now, bring those results up shortly. What else? What other comments have we got coming in tonight? Lol, maybe if somebody else goes, then Tav's blackmail will be useless and he will go too. But no, unfortunately, they still want the dirt coming out, whether it Rangers or not. Celtic supporting pundits are always questioning any decisions we get. Agreed. PLZ Zocker are a dirty show. Agreed. Don't watch it. We start winning league trophies and players produce. We can then command big transfer fees because right now the club are interested in losers, players with no bottles. We do need to obviously do that. We do need this whole transfer model to be embedded very, very quickly. I agree. Look at Sutton and McFadden, etc., greeting about the silver pen, but not a word about the. Agreed. They're just shocking. That Sutton is a joke. Sutton is an absolute joke. Geordie says, do you think Lennon will stop the transfer of that player that we are linked to? Mate, he's got no say over transfers. They run a very continental model at Bucharest in terms of the fact that it's very much a case of the director of football and the chairman take all the decisions. The president, as it is over there, it's not down to the coach. Rapport says here in the live chat, he says, 20 years ago, most of the refs in Scotland were really good and got called up for the Euros and the World Cup. I agree. There were some great refs in the past. Hugh Dallas, people like that, quality refs. But now Scotland is well renowned for having awful referees. Something needs to be done. And for me, it's about getting them to turn professional. It's about getting the right people in the VAR studios. It's about getting the refereeing training and refereeing education back up to a standard. I think the problem is, Paul, the standards are not going to get any better. The standards aren't. Why are the standards not going to get any better in Scottish refereeing? Because number one, Willie Collum is the director of refereeing. If the SFA had gone for one of those English refs who wanted to come up here, then we could have made changes because those would have carried no baggage, no sectarianism, no divide towards one side or the other. They could have looked at Scottish refereeing standards, Scottish referees in a subjective way and said, right, this is all bad. These are the good things. This is what we need to get better at. This is how we're going to do it, and push through a program to actually do it. But the SFA are cowards. They've gone down the route of giving Willie Collum the job, and the standards are not going to get any better because, as we know, Willie Collum is one of the worst referees in European football. Get King back. Obviously, yeah, please smash that like. Chris Sutton literally gets away with murder in Scotland. He does. Agreed. Aldo says Hugh Dallas would never have, he never folded in May 1999. Imagine that today. He wouldn't. He didn't. And he was a top referee. That's why he got to referee in World Cups and things. I don't know why fans are obsessed with ex-players or who's worked with Rangers before. Coming back, it doesn't work. Only one football team in the world has ever had a pen for a head clash. Can you guess who that was? Celtic, obviously. Can't bring myself to write his name with a heartbeat. Agreed. Do you think we could get Kalina out of retirement? That would be a brilliant one. He doesn't. I don't know how old he is these days, though. I don't know how old he is now. They don't get their own way in Europe, and that's why they struggle. Absolutely, they don't get their own way in Europe because the refereeing standards in Europe are higher, and that is the big thing. And I think if you saw some of those referees in Scotland and refereeing their games, you would see different decisions. Should have made a real attempt to get into the English League, set up in 2012. Scotland's good call. I would have loved it, Rangers to play in Scotland, in England, and all this talk about well, Rangers would have been relegated. If Rangers got the same level of investment into the club that the English Premier League clubs get, even the English Championship clubs get, Rangers would be challenging for titles within 5 years. I'm sure of that. If Rangers got into the Premier League and they were given the money that the EPL clubs get and given the ability to raise the revenue that the EPL clubs get, I mean, can you imagine? You go away to games, to Old Trafford, to the Etihad, to the Emirates Stadium. You have Man United coming up here, Man City, Chelsea. The revenues are higher. They bring massive away followings. All those Premier League clubs bring massive away followings. You can make so much more money. That's why English clubs have so much more money. TV deals, internal, external revenue streams, match day sales. They raise so much money. Sponsorship. They raise so much money because they've got a product in the EPL that is so marketable. And honestly, I believe if Rangers win the English Premier League, within 5 years, they will be competing for titles because of the money we could generate. It would scare the crap. But the EPL will never let Rangers and Celtic into the Premier League because they know it's like turkeys voting for Christmas. They all hate us. We don't care. Agreed. Bring back John Rowbottom. Agreed. VAR shouldn't be showing still shots to tackles the referee. They should be shown in real time. Agreed. Is Davis aware under contract? Davis is under contract still, under contract. I'm sure there was a European game where the refs got everything spot on. There's a lot of refs where games where European referees get things spot on because they're better than Scottish refs, plain and simple. The both of us wouldn't get out of the championship. Stuart, I think we would in time. Perhaps not now. If we took this squad south of the border now and put it in the English Championship, yeah, I agree. We'd struggle to get promoted because you look at Leeds, you look at West Bromwich Albion, you look at Middlesbrough, you look at some of the clubs that are coming down this year with the parachute payments, Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley. Of course, we'd struggle because financially we can't compete with them. We should have been Wrexham before Wrexham. Good. I don't even watch the EPL or CL. I prefer watching the likes of the Championship, the ECL. These days, much more exciting. Scottish refs shouldn't be allowed in the VAR room. That's a good call. Get foreign refs in there. That would be pretty good. Pretty sure Simon Jordan said that if Rangers and Celtic moved down to Championship within 5 years, they'd be in the Premier League, a top 5 team. Yeah, I agree. Simon Jordan's an idiot. I don't like Simon Jordan, but yeah, I agree on that one. I think we'll need to go to CAS to join the English leagues because of the corruption in Scotland. Imagine if they made a British league because R72. That's a good call, isn't it? 12 league team, plastic pitches in Doncaster. It's embarrassing. They appointed the worst ref head of VAR operations. Agreed. Over 44 million watched the Old Firm game. Best viewing figures ever. They did, absolutely. And that's the thing. I think, I honestly think, like I said, that in 5 years' time, if we were in the Premier League, we would actually compete, I think, for a title. Guys, whatever happens, this is massive now. This summer has just got huge, even more huge than it previously was. If you look down the list of what we need, what we now need at this club, it is massive. It is huge. And it's gonna be a very exciting summer. I mean, for me, you look at the list of things we now need. We need a new CEO, we need an academy director, we need new medical staff, we need new players. The list is massive now. The list is huge of what we actually need to bring into this club to actually get back to being competitive. I think this is huge. This is massive this summer. It really genuinely is. We will continue, obviously, to bring you all the latest daily news and opinion on this. Guys, look, the channel is moving forward. Look, the channel is moving massively forward now. I just want to finish off today talking a little bit just about what is upcoming in the next sort of 6 months with this channel. So I've been talking most of the day. I've been getting bankrupted by my daughters at the shops this afternoon. But I was talking to Lorah, spending a lot of time talking to my Lorah. Not Scottish Lorah, not my. My daughter is also called Lorah, which is very complicated. Particularly if I text my daughter about something to do with Glasgow Rangers Nation, she texts back going, "What?" So next plans for the next 6 months in terms of this channel, guys. Well, obviously we'll continue with daily news and opinion videos. We'll continue with game live streams. We're going to go a minimum of 3 times a week with podcasts. We're also going to go now with a new thing once monthly. Once monthly, we are going to. I've got 2 teenage daughters, although 16 and 13, mate. 16 and 13. 16 and 13. Scary, mate. Scary. So we're also going to go once a month with fan forums as well. So what we're going to do in the fan forum once a month is we'll drop the link for StreamYard into the description, and you'll be able to join on screen to talk Rangers as well. So that is something else that is upcoming in the next few months. We're also, we're on TikTok as well, so we'll also be using TikTok live as well. So when we're not live here on YouTube, we'll be doing 2 lives a week on TikTok, posting content over there as well. Summer 2025, we will be doing a live show in Glasgow, myself and Lorah, and some other guests. So look out for that. So there's an awful lot upcoming. 30 and 13, both brutal. Yeah, both brutal. Obviously, all brutal, mate. So look, there's an awful lot coming up with the channel over the next 6 months to a year. So obviously, please help us by subscribing to the channel, helping the channel to grow, and helping the channel to get bigger, guys. It is all down to you. And you know what? We wouldn't be here without you. And one of the things that I always pride myself on, is the fact that I want to involve you as much as possible. This is a fan channel. This is a fan channel, and we're all about you. And you notice I bring up a lot more comments from you guys. I talk to you guys a lot more, as much as I can. Obviously, it is hard at times following the live chat, especially when you've got a guest on. So look, I do try and obviously do at least 1 podcast a week where it's just me, and I can get you more involved with it, because to me, your opinion is just as valid as mine. I'm the one who's lucky enough to be sat this side of the camera talking crap into a microphone, looking at a camera for an hour or 40 minutes or 45 minutes. You're the ones who helped to contribute, and that's massive for me. We follow our club through the ups and downs. They have one bad season. Next season, they'll be rioting in the streets. Absolutely. This is massive, huge. Thank you for all the positive comments. Thank you to Louise. We come up, Louise, but it's not cooperating. Thank you, Aldo, as well. Thank you to those of you sharing about your families as well. This is what it's all about, guys. It's about us sharing our views, getting together, and talking all things Rangers. Well, guys, right, I'm going to head off now. I've got to walk the dog, and then I've got to get to bed because I've got to get to work tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Now, look, I prefer not to go to work tomorrow morning. I would love to be doing this, for this as my job. Doing this and talking to you on a more regular basis and doing much stuff. Just dropped. Thank you. Bye. I follow. So cool on TikTok. We are on TikTok, guys. Please check us out. Okay. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Obviously, big news today. James Bisgrove is gone. Aldo's off at 1 a.m. to watch the Stanley Cup. Who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year, Aldo? Who's your bet for the Stanley? I don't even know who's in it this year. I've lost interest. After the Penguins didn't qualify for the playoffs, I lost interest in it, Aldo, I have to say. Janet, we're all getting old. No one's getting any younger, Janet, apart from Madonna and Cher. Are the only 2 getting any younger, and that's because they're mostly made of plastic, those 2. Good night, buddy. Good night to DL2 Modder. Edmonton Oilers are going to win, he says. Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. David, I would not get any. I'd get people paying me to turn the channel off if I did OnlyFans, buddy. I'm not doing OnlyFans. I'm not Astrid Wet or Leah Ray. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. As always, on the way out, there's 2 things I always ask of you. Number 1, please smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.